Have you ever felt like the world is losing its mind, but there's one specific place that decided to ditch logic and sanity altogether? Welcome to Florida, the US state that turned bizarre into a daily lifestyle. What you're about to witness isn't just a collection of random news clips. It's a deep dive into a parallel reality where alligators are used as weapons, iguanas rain from the sky, and human beings test the absolute limits of the impossible every single day. Brace yourself, because after this video, your definition of normal will never be the same. If you're a fan of true mysteries, unbelievable crimes, and pure, unadulterated chaos, this top 30 was made for you. But before we reveal the #1 case, which involves something so insane that even science fiction wouldn't dare to write a tiny view to prepare yourself, close the windows, put on your headphones, and dive into this journey with me. If you don't want to miss our upcoming deep dives into places that look like they're straight out of a nightmare, subscribe to the channel right now. What are you expecting to see in this video? I guarantee that by the end, you'll be asking yourself, what exactly is in the water down there in Florida? Let's get started. 30th, the drive-through alligator toss. Imagine you're a fast food worker on a quiet Tuesday night. You open the window to hand over an order, but instead of getting paid, a man simply hurls a live 3-foot alligator right into the kitchen. In Florida, the ecosystem is so integrated into urban life that reptiles often end up being used as tools for the most unthinkable acts. The perpetrator claimed it was just a prank, but the sheer terror of the employees and the very real danger of a wild predator crawling among the deep fryers show that in this state, local wildlife and civilization collide in violent and unexpected ways. 29th, the frozen iguana rain. While the rest of the world worries about snow or hail, Miami residents have to look up to avoid being knocked unconscious by iguanas falling from trees. When temperatures drop below 40 degrees Fahrenheit, these reptiles go into a state of cold-stunned shock and lose their grip on the branches, plummeting like green stones onto cars and sidewalks. The most bizarre part is that they aren't dead, just paralyzed. As soon as the sun comes back out, they simply wake up and go about their business, often inside the homes of well-meaning people who picked them up thinking they were carcasses. 28th, the pirate's sword heist. Florida's maritime heritage is sometimes taken a little too seriously. One man decided that firearms were too modern for his taste and chose to rob a gas station brandishing a scimitar-curved sword typical of classic pirates. Living in a state surrounded by tales of buried treasure and corsairs seems to have warped this individual's judgment. He chased the clerk around the gas pumps as if he were on an 18th century galleon, proving that anachronism is a constant theme in local police departments. 27th, paying for coffee with a baby gate. Alligators appear on our list again, but this time as a form of currency. A man walked into a convenience store in Jacksonville and tried to haggle for coffee and snacks by offering a baby alligator he had caught in a nearby swamp. To him, the logic was flawless. An exotic animal is surely worth more than a few bucks. The narrative that nature is an infinite and tradable resource is part of a deep subculture in Florida, where the wild is viewed almost as a pet or a commodity for immediate barter. 26th, the hamster wheel, Atlantic crossing. Human ambition knows no bounds in Florida, especially when the ocean is involved. A local inventor decided the best way to reach Europe would be inside a giant, inflatable, circular structure, basically a human-sized hamster wheel equipped with hand-powered paddles. The Coast Guard intercepted him miles offshore, facing dangerous currents and looming tropical storms. He refused to leave his vessel, claiming he had every right to continue his epic journey, even though his statistical chances of survival were zero. 25th, the lasagna-loving bear invasion. Florida's forests are home to black bears that have become extremely accustomed to humans. One of these animals made headlines by learning how to open sliding glass doors. It didn't enter to attack, but rather to help itself to a tray of lasagna that was cooling on the kitchen counter. The homeowner found the bear comfortably seated, finishing off the Italian meal before calmly exiting through the back door. This illustrates how the boundary between domestic life and the jungle is almost non-existent in certain regions of the state. 24th, the cheeseburger battery case. In a domestic dispute that escalated far too quickly, a man was arrested for assaulting his girlfriend using a cheeseburger. It might sound comical, but under Florida law, this was recorded as domestic battery. The bizarre detail here is that the man became enraged because the burger wasn't cooked to his liking, and in a fit of fury, used the food as a projectile, coating the house in condiments and causing a scene that required multiple police units to intervene. 23rd, the criminals who called 911 for help. Two criminals were in the middle of robbing a house when they realized they had too many items to fit in their getaway car. In a moment of pure disconnection from reality, they called 911 to ask if the officers could help them move the furniture and electronics to their destination. They believed that if they acted natural, the police wouldn't suspect a thing. Obviously, the police showed up, but the transport provided went straight to the county jail, ending one of the stupidest criminal plans in recent history. 22nd, the swamp hideout and the snake attack. A suspect on the run decided the best way to lose the canine units was to dive into a deep swamp and stay submerged with only his nose above water. What he didn't count on was the local residents. A venomous snake didn't appreciate the intrusion and bit him repeatedly. The man had to choose between dying from the serpent's toxin or surrendering to the officers surrounding him. He emerged from the mud screaming for medical help, proving that Florida's nature is far more unforgiving than the law itself. 21st, the wedding to an inflatable tube man. In one of the strangest cases of objectophilia, a Florida woman declared her eternal love for one of those inflatable tube men that dance in front of car dealerships. She organized a symbolic ceremony, claiming that the vibrant energy and resilient personality of the tube man in the wind were traits she never found in a human being. The story traveled the globe as an extreme example of how social isolation and individual eccentricities flourish under the scorching Miami sun. 20th, the Christmas tree assault. During the holiday season, tensions often run high. A man was detained after a family brawl where he used a fully decorated Christmas tree to strike his relatives. Imagine the scene: lights flickering, ornaments flying through the air, and a synthetic pine tree being swung like a medieval mace. The holiday spirit was completely replaced by aesthetic and violent chaos, leaving the living room looking like the set of a low-budget horror movie. 19th, the iPad-stealing dolphin. At a marine park, a dolphin seemed to grow tired of being photographed. With surgical precision, it leapt from the water and snatched an iPad right out of a tourist's hands, dragging it to the bottom of the tank. The video of the incident shows the animal appearing to smile after the act. Experts say dolphins in the region are highly intelligent and can develop mocking or vengeful behaviors against humans who annoy them, turning a vacation moment into an instant technological loss. 18th, dashboard cookie baking. The Florida summer is so intense that the interior of a parked vehicle can easily exceed 180 degrees Fahrenheit. To prove a point, a local influencer placed a baking sheet with cookie dough on his car's dashboard and left it there for 4 hours. The result: perfectly baked, crunchy cookies. While it seems like a neat trick, it serves as a grim warning about the deadly danger of leaving living beings inside cars in a state where metal turns into an industrial oven in minutes. 17th, the invasion of the high squirrels. An elderly woman called emergency services claiming she was being held hostage in her own bedroom by a group of squirrels that had invaded her pantry and consumed fermented poppy seeds. The animals, in a state of psychotic agitation, began running up the walls and attacking anything that moved. The story sounds like a joke, but police did indeed find the rodents in a state of aggressive euphoria, shredding curtains and furniture in an animal party that spiraled out of control. 16th, the Cinderella carriage heist. Disney World is the heart of Florida, and even it isn't safe from the bizarre. A group of individuals attempted to steal one of the iconic carriages used for luxury weddings at the park. They planned to tow it with a standard pickup truck, believing no one would notice a giant crystal carriage rolling down the state highways in the middle of the night. The plan failed miserably when the structure knots built for high speeds began to disintegrate on the road, leaving a trail of glitter and metal for the police to follow. 15th, the bedsheet Batman vigilante. Unlike the movies, this Florida Batman was wearing only a plastic mask and a cape made from a bedsheet. He chased a carjacking suspect for 3 blocks, screaming catchphrases in a gravelly voice. Surprisingly, the criminal was so confused and terrified by the bizarre figure that he stopped running and waited for the police to arrive. Sometimes, the level of strangeness in Florida is so high that it functions as a crime-fighting tactic through pure psychological shock. 14th, the skunk ape legend. Deep in the Everglades lies the legend of the skunk ape, Florida's version of Bigfoot, but with an unbearable smell of skunk. Various grainy videos and photos surfaced annually, with residents swearing they saw a 7-foot-tall hairy creature crossing rural roads. The dense forest and unexplored swamps feed the narrative that something ancient and foul-smelling still lives hidden among the gators and pythons. 13th, the python versus alligator explosion. The war between invasive species in Florida has reached apocalyptic levels. Biologists found a Burmese python that literally exploded after trying to digest an adult alligator. The snake's carcass was found floating with the alligator's tail still protruding from its ruptured stomach. It's a brutal sight that summarizes the struggle for survival in an ecosystem where animals that should have never met are now fighting for supremacy in battles worthy of a monster movie. 12th, the gamer's final wake. Florida's culture of personalized funerals took mourning to a new level. A family decided to honor a young gaming enthusiast by positioning his embalmed body in a recliner, with a PlayStation controller in his hands and a TV turned on in front of him. Guests arrived to see him playing one last time. This narrative way of handling death shows how the state values individuality, even if it results in scenes that look like they were ripped from a dark comedy. 11th, the Martian credit card attempt. An individual tried to make a purchase at a store using a credit card made of cardboard, hand-painted, which he claimed belonged to the Central Bank of Mars. When the cashier refused, the man insisted he was an intergalactic ambassador and that rejecting the card would be seen as an act of diplomatic war. The police were called not just because of the card, but because he began trying to teleport the merchandise out of the store, using only the power of his mind and a lot of screaming. 10th, the island of herpes monkeys. In central Florida, there's a river called Silver Springs where hundreds of wild rhesus macaques live. The bizarre part, they were released there in the 1930s by a tour boat owner who thought they would attract customers. The problem is that the colony grew, and now the monkeys carry a rare and dangerous strain of herpes that can be fatal to humans. Tourists frequently ignore the warnings to take selfies, unaware they are dealing with a biological time bomb in a tropical paradise. 9th, The centenarian identity thief. A 30-year-old man was arrested after successfully living for months using the identity of a 100-year-old man who had already passed away. He didn't just use the credit cards. He dressed like the old man, used a wheelchair, and attended bingo clubs to maintain the charade. Florida's vast retiree population allowed him to hide in plain sight, only being caught when he tried to renew the deceased man's life insurance policy in person. 8th, the exotic lion meat tacos. There was a time when a Florida restaurant caused international outrage by including African lion meat in its taco menu. While it was legal at the time under certain exotic meat import loopholes, the public backlash was fierce. The narrative here is Florida's insatiable desire for the exotic and the forbidden, turning majestic animals into a gastronomic curiosity for tourists seeking bizarre stories to tell back home. 7th, punching the ocean's predator. While most people would swim for their lives at the sight of a fin, one Florida surfer decided to fight back. After a bull shark bit his board, he jumped into the water and started pummeling the predator's snout until it let go of his gear. He emerged from the water with only minor scratches and an epic story, embodying the Florida man stereotype that refuses to be intimidated even by the ocean's most lethal predators. 6th, the ice cream truck pursuit. Florida police once pursued a stolen ice cream truck for miles. The catch: the vehicle couldn't go over 25 miles per hour and had its jingle playing the entire time. The chase lasted hours, with the thief waving at people on the sidewalk while police cruisers followed with sirens blaring. It was a surreal scene that looked like a dystopian carnival parade, ending only when the truck finally ran out of gas. 5th, condos over the forgotten graves. In Tampa, hundreds of residents discovered that their high-end homes were built directly on top of a segregation-era cemetery that was simply erased from maps decades ago. Tales of ghosts and poltergeists quickly took over the neighborhood, with residents reporting strange noises and shadows in the halls. The case revealed a dark side of Florida's urban development, where profit often tramples over history and respect for the dead. 4th, 3 years with a deceased mother. In a story straight out of Psycho, a man kept his mother's body in a rocking chair for 3 years, using fans and air fresheners to hide the smell, all to keep cashing her social security checks. He spoke to the body and even watched television with it. Loneliness and greed merged into a macabre setting that was only discovered after a routine health inspection. 3rd, the infamous Miami cannibal. This is one of the darkest and most famous cases. A man, allegedly under the influence of a synthetic drug known as bath salts, attacked a homeless man on a busy highway and began to devour the victim's face while he was still alive. Police had to use lethal force to stop him. The incident sparked a zombie apocalypse panic and highlighted the danger of designer drugs that turned humans into irrational monsters on the streets of Miami. 2nd, the bedroom sinkhole disaster. Florida's geology is made of porous limestone, creating sinkholes that open without warning. In a terrifying case, a sinkhole opened exactly under a man's bedroom itself. His brother heard a scream and, upon entering the room, saw only a dark abyss where the bed used to be. The body was never recovered because the ground was too unstable for rescue teams. It's the ultimate proof that in Florida, even the ground beneath your feet can betray you at any moment. First, the plan to shoot the hurricane. Every time a Category 5 hurricane approaches, a movement starts on the Florida internet suggesting that people point their household fans toward the ocean to blow the hurricane back. Others suggest firing guns at the eye of the storm. The level of science denial and absurd confidence in human intervention is so high that authorities have to issue official warnings asking people not to shoot at the hurricane, as the bullets could blow back and hit them. It is the pinnacle of the madness and clueless bravery that defines the unbreakable, yet bizarre, spirit of the state of Florida. Did you already know about these insane Florida facts? Or did one of them totally blow your mind? I want to know your thoughts. Drop a comment below telling me which number was the craziest to you. If you enjoyed this trip into the wild side of the Sunshine State, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe to the channel right now. We are posting mind-bending videos like this every single day, and you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. See you in the next one.